On the 15th of April, 1452, Leonardo da Vinci was born in a town called Vinci. Here he spent most of his childhood. When he was about 14, his family moved to Florence. This was when he began work as a studio boy for Andrea del Verrocchio, a leading Florentine painter. When he was 17, he became Andrea's apprentice for the next 7 years. Under Andrea's teaching, Leonardo acquired a variety of skills, including chemistry, woodwork, mechanics, and painting. While working in Andrea's workshop, Leonardo met a number of artists who were also in Florence at the time. Leonardo also collaborated with Andrea on some of his paintings, most famously, The Baptism of Christ. When he was 20 years old, Leonardo was skilled enough to qualify as a master at the Guild of St. Luke. Despite having his own office at the Guild, he still worked and lived with Andrea. In January of 1478, Leonardo was commissioned to paint an altarpiece for the chapel of St. Bernard. However, the commission was never finished. Later, Leonardo went to offer his services and talents to the Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza. Leonardo sent the Duke a letter detailing his skills in engineering and craft. From 1482 to 1499, Leonardo worked in Milan, where he painted the Virgin on the Rocks and the Last Supper. When the Duke of Milan was overthrown in 1500, Leonardo fled to Venice, where he was employed as a military architect and engineer. In Cesena, Leonardo was employed by Cesare Borgia as his chief military engineer. In early 1503, Leonardo returned to Florence and rejoined the Guild of St. Luke. During this time, he began working on the Mona Lisa. In 1506, Leonardo was summoned to Milan. Here, he began teaching Count Francesco Melzi, who would become his favorite student. He also practiced botany in the gardens in the Vatican City. Leonardo died on May 2nd, 1519.
Arguably, one of Leonardo's most famous paintings is the Mona Lisa. It depicts a woman sitting in front of a beautiful mountainous landscape. He worked on it from 1503 until 1506.
Okay.
In Italy, in the 15th century, Da Vinci studied under Italian artist Andrea del Verrocchio, famed Italian painter and sculptor. At age 15, he was already studying painting, sculpting, and technical arts extensively. In 1482, when Leonardo was about 30 years old, under the many years of tutelage with Verrocchio, Da Vinci was tasked with creating a sculpture, the Adoration of Magi, for a monastery in Florence. Da Vinci never ended up finishing that sculpture because he moved to Milan, Italy, to pursue artistry, sculpting, and engineering further under the ruling Forza clan. The Forza clan then commissioned a sculpture of an ornate horse statue created entirely in bronze. Da Vinci ended up almost creating the beautiful statue, which took about 12 years to start the project. The statue, however, ended up never being created due to bronze being used for warfare to create cannons, and a remaining clay model of the statue was destroyed in 1499 after the Duke Forza fell out of power. And here is a picture of sketches of what the statue was supposed to look like. But perhaps what is least talked about and lesser known is the fact that Da Vinci was an inventor and scientist as well as an artist. Unlike some other artists, Da Vinci believed that science and art were complementary to each other. Over the years, beginning in the 1490s, Da Vinci started writing and drawing in journals, in it being plans for ideas such as new mechanical inventions, such as advanced parachutes and helicopters. And this is a picture of a catapult designed by Da Vinci. Da Vinci also invented designs for guns similar to modern-day machine guns used in war. He also invented what he called armored cars, or the precursor to military cars, also known as armored personnel carriers. Although Da Vinci's inventions were very ahead of its time back in the 15th century, because his work was not published or viewed upon until centuries later, his scientific discoveries, understandings, and inventions were virtually unknown to Italy and the world at that time, somewhat undermining his scientific achievements until his journals were found. Including creating designs for inventions and using his notebooks as a sketchbook, he also studied anatomy of both animals and humans, and had dissected both on various accounts to get accurate and detailed drawings in his journals of the inner workings and anatomy of animals. And here's a detailed and accurate drawing by Da Vinci from one of his notebooks.